wait, don't go anywhere, because if you skip this, you'll miss the one detail that could keep you alive. This isn't just another scary story. This is the kind of story that crawls under your skin and refuses to leave. It starts with something simple, a phone call, a knock, a shadow, but by the end, you'll be questioning what's real and what should have stayed buried. And trust me, you do not want to find yourself in Noah's shoes, because once it begins, there is no way out. I should have known something was wrong the moment we stepped inside, but hindsight is cruel like that. It only reveals the signs once you're too far gone to escape them. It all started because of my best friend, Noah. He'd been obsessed with puzzles and riddles since high school, so when his girlfriend suggested we book the newest escape room in town, none of us argued. In fact, it sounded fun. The place had only opened 3 months ago, and it had already built a reputation as the most immersive escape room experience in the state. Their ads were everywhere. Grainy black and white posters of keyholes and eyes staring out of darkness. They called it the Chamber of Echoes. Looking back, the name feels like a warning. The 4 of us went, me, Noah, his girlfriend Lily, and my cousin Tyler. It was supposed to be a harmless night out before Halloween. Dinner, laughs, a quick escape room, and then drinks after. That was the plan. The building looked old from the outside, but the kind of old you expect from a trendy business trying to cash in on vintage charm. A 3-story brick warehouse tucked between 2 closed storefronts with a crooked sign swinging in the wind. The letters had been painted by hand in peeling black paint. Aurelia Entertainment Collective. Inside, the atmosphere hit us immediately. The lobby wasn't playful or cheesy like most escape rooms. No cartoon skulls, no silly riddles plastered on the walls. Instead, everything was stripped back. Low red lighting, the faint hum of hidden speakers playing what sounded like Gregorian chants in reverse, and a smell of cold stone, like an old cellar. A woman in a black uniform sat behind the counter. Her eyes were pale gray, almost colorless, and when she smiled, I noticed her teeth were too sharp, as though the points had been filed. "Welcome to the Chamber of Echoes," she said in a voice that was almost a whisper. "Your game tonight will last 1 hour. Inside, you will find the keys to your freedom." Or, she let the pause hang in the air. "You'll join the others." We chuckled nervously. Tyler muttered, "Damn, they're really going all out on the acting." We signed the waivers, handed over our phones, and followed her down a narrow hall lined with tall mirrors. I tried not to look, but I swear, in some of those reflections, my body lagged behind me, like my arms moved a second later than I did. At the end of the hall was a steel door with a black number 7 painted across it. The woman unlocked it with a key so rusted I wondered how it even still turned. "Inside, the game has already begun," she whispered. Then the door shut behind us with a clang that shook my bones. The room was pitch black, not escape room dim, but absolute blackness. I couldn't even see the outline of my hand in front of my face. We shuffled awkwardly, whispering, until a single bulb snapped on overhead, flickering. The light swung as though someone had just touched it, casting long, crooked shadows across the walls. And that's when we realized we weren't in a decorated game room. We were in what looked like a real cellar. Cracked stone walls, rusty chains bolted to the floor, and dampness dripping down from somewhere above. A heavy wooden chair with leather straps sat in the center, the seat stained with something dark that had soaked deep into the wood. Lily whispered, "Is this supposed to be the set? Because it feels real." Noah was grinning ear to ear, already searching the walls for clues. "It's immersive. That's the whole point. Best rated room in town, remember?" But my gut twisted. Something about the air felt wrong. Heavy, damp, like breathing in mold. On the far wall, words had been carved into the stone in jagged letters. "Do not listen to the echo." We thought it was part of the game, just another creepy clue. But soon, we would learn it wasn't. Because that night, inside the Chamber of Echoes, the walls weren't just holding us in. They were whispering back. At first, it was almost easy to convince ourselves that it was just a game. After all, escape rooms are supposed to play tricks on you. Lights, sounds, props meant to unnerve. That's what I told myself when the bulb overhead began to swing harder, though none of us had touched it. Noah was already scanning the walls. "There's gotta be a code hidden here somewhere. Help me check the stones." Lily stood by the chair in the middle, wringing her hands. "This doesn't feel right. Look at these stains. That's not paint, Noah. That's fake blood." Tyler cut in quickly, though I caught the way his throat tightened as he said it. I moved closer to the carvings on the wall. "Do not listen to the echo." The letters were etched deep, rough, uneven, like they'd been scratched in desperation. My fingertips brushed the grooves, and for the briefest second, I swore they felt warm. Then I heard it, a faint murmur. It was so soft, I thought it was my imagination at first. But as I pressed my ear against the stone, tone. The whisper sharpened into something unmistakable, my own voice. It was repeating back the words I had just spoken aloud to Lily moments before. Same tone, same nervous laugh, only slower, drawn out, distorted. I staggered back. Did you guys hear that? Hear what? Tyler asked. Before I could answer, the bulb flickered violently and the door behind us groaned. We spun around. It should have been locked shut, but now it was slightly ajar, showing nothing but another stretch of darkness beyond. Noah grinned, mistaking it for progress. Yes, that's it. That's the next room. He was already halfway through before I could protest. We followed, because what else could we do? The hall beyond was narrow, the walls pressing in close. Water dripped steadily from pipes overhead, and the floor was uneven, like we were walking deeper underground. The door slammed behind us, sealing us in again with a clang. The corridor ended in a wider chamber, dimly lit by lanterns bolted to the walls. This one was different. Instead of stone, the walls were lined with mirrors, dozens of them, all cracked, warped, smeared with grime. Some were full length, others jagged shards nailed into the mortar. And that was when the whispering began again. At first, it was just a trickle of sound, like wind moving through cracks in the glass. But then the voices grew clearer. I could hear Lily's voice calling my name from one mirror, Tyler's laugh echoing from another, even Noah's voice, whispering secrets he'd never said out loud. Guys, Lily's voice trembled. They're copying us. But I shook my head. No, they're not copying, because one of the mirrors showed me something I hadn't said, something I'd only thought. I don't want to be here. I watched in horror as my reflection leaned close to the glass and mouthed those exact words, without me moving at all. Noah, still caught up in the excitement, tapped a shard with his knuckle. This has to be the puzzle. Maybe it's like one of these mirrors hides the code, right? We just gotta figure out which one. Then, as if on cue, all the reflections stopped moving. Every version of us in the glass froze, staring straight at us with wide, unblinking eyes. The lanterns dimmed, the air thickened, and then, in perfect unison, all of the reflections began to smile. It wasn't our smiles. It was something far too wide, far too sharp. Lily gasped and stumbled back, nearly falling. Tyler cursed under his breath. And then one of the reflections, my reflection, lifted its hand and pressed it against the inside of the glass. I wasn't moving, but it was. And when it dragged its palm downward, a trail of blood smeared across the inside of the mirror. Noah finally stopped grinning. Okay, maybe this is too real. A loud crack split the air as one of the mirrors fractured further. The glass trembled as if something was pressing against it from the other side, desperate to get out. And for the first time since we entered, I realized this wasn't a game anymore. The echoes weren't part of the experience. They were warnings.